Welcome back to Green Devils, Ireland's newest Manchester United fan channel. And finally, Premier League football is back. Uh, that has got to be the longest international break ever. Definitely felt like a hell of a lot longer than 2 weeks. But anyway, look, thankfully, proper football is back. And Manchester United travel to the City Ground to take on high flying Nottingham Forest on Tuesday night. So let's talk Manchester United first. United are unbeaten in the last six Premier League games after an international break, and will also be looking to make it two away wins on the bounce, something we haven't done since February 2024. And look, I suppose the big news, injuries look like they're starting to ease up. Obviously, we saw during the week, Lenny Yarrow, Harry Maguire, and Luke Shaw are all back training with the first team. But it's probably unlikely that we'll see them in the matchday squad this time around. And look, and with Patrick Dorgo's domestic suspension finally over, I think we're slowly getting back to full strength. In terms of our midfield, Bruno Fernandes is in the run for March's Player of the Month, and I think he'll be pulling the strings as always. And obviously, of course, Highland finally breaking his scoring drought just before the international break. I think he'll be looking to kick on and go on a bit of a scoring run. Looking at Nottingham Forest, I think they've been the surprise package of the season. So far, they're currently sitting third in the table, just 4 points behind Arsenal in second, and 5 points ahead of Chelsea in fourth. And look, they've been lethal at home. They've really turned the City Ground into a fortress. I think since the autumn, they've won six and drawn two of the last eight at home, and they've already beaten Man City there as well, and Ipswich this month. And look, they've got a knack for soaking up the pressure and hitting teams on the break. Callum Hudson-Odoi's been a revelation. Chris Wood's been banging in the goals. I think he's got 18 in the league this season already. And obviously Morgan Gibbs-White is their creative heartbeat. Look, Nuno has got his team very well drilled. So United are going to have their hands full. In terms of the key players, I think obviously for United it's going to be Bruno. His vision and his leadership definitely could unlock Forest backline. And look, keep an eye on Highland too. If he gets space and time, hopefully he's he's kept his shooting boots with him. So he could be dangerous. I think for Forest, obviously, look, Chris Wood is the danger man. As I said earlier, 18 goals, don't lie, and he's scored against some of the top teams in the league already. So he's definitely one to watch for them. And look, obviously Hudson-Odoi's pace as well on the counter could exploit United's high line. So we're going to need to be on it from the first whistle. Obviously, look, I think tactically, you know, we know Amorim's system by now. There's been so much talk about it over this season so far. Look, it's going to be that 3-4-3 with his three centre backs and the wing backs bombing forward and a compact midfield. And look, we'll be looking to dominate possession and hopefully stretch Forest's defence. But, you know, we've seen them so far this season as well. They like to sit deep, soak up the bit of pressure and use the pace that they have up front to, spring those lightning fast counter attacks. In terms of head to head, Forest have won the last two league meetings, including the 3-2 victory over United at Old Trafford in December. But look, we did nick a 1-0 win in the cup last year with a late Casemiro header, but it's going to be tight. Recent history, Forest just edge it, but this one could go either way. So the predictions in terms of the lineup, I think it's going to be pretty much the same as we saw before the break. Possibly very, very similar to what we see, I think, for the Real Sociedad game. Obviously, look, it's going to be Onana in goal. I think the back three is going to be Mazraoui, De Ligt, and Aiden Heaven. And with Dorgo back from suspension, I think he's going to come straight back in as that left wing back with the low switching back over to the right. Midfield two is going to be Bruno and Agarte, I think. And then in attack, You know, it's likely that'll be Garnacho and Xerxes as the two tens with Garnacho on the right. Um, Amorim seems to be favouring him on the right hand side more. We've it's been talked about many times, but Garnacho on that left hand side, but Garnacho is more creative on that right hand side. He's less inclined to cut in and take that shot when he's playing on the right hand side. He kind of has to be get more involved in the play and setting things up for the likes of Highland, who will likely be in that nine. Um, when it comes to the score, I'm kind of torn with this. I mean, look, we all know we all know United has the quality. Um, and I think just before the international break, we were starting to look good. Things looked like they were starting to click, and the system was all the players in the system are starting to gel. But look, Forest at home are going to be tough. The only thing that could work in our favour for this one is the fact that Forest played a cup game on Saturday and it went the full 120 minutes and penalties. Um, and they played more or less a full strength team, whereas our players have had the entire weekend off and just focus on training and rest after the international break. So I think taking that into account, I'm going to go with a 2-1 win for United. I think Bruno will score. I think Highland grabbed the winner. Um, like I said, if he's kept his shooting boots on, I think he can cause some trouble for Forest. But look, I mean, this could easily end as a 1-1 draw as well. Who knows? But yeah, look, in terms of there's my prediction. Go with a 2-1 victory for United. But look, let me know what you think. Drop your score predictions in the comments below, and yeah, smash a like on the video before you go. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll catch you later.